I don't have any of my normal stuff. This is weird.
And I'm here.
Yay! I'm also here, despite not being in my normal spot. But I am here. So, hello. Hi. Welcome to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real in the tea in reality. And you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy, say something gay. Gay, live from vacation in a place. You don't need to necessarily know where that is. But I'm not in my bedroom currently. I am drinking water still because hydration is of the essence of Hall. Insert cup mug promo here. I don't have mine.
But I do.
Yay.
A half panel full of cup.
No, we're
It
not
doesn't
doing it
work
today.
as nicely.
It
It does
does
not work as
not.
nicely.
But you could go get yours and all of our other merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. Link in the description below. And we do ship domestically within North America. Internationally, we are working on it as we work on getting our shipping for a race around the world. Wrong podcast, but
Yeah,
still
close
track.
enough.
We're
It's like
going
an
on
hour
an
30 early.
adventure to an island. So if you're on an island in Fiji and want a cup mug, we're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my name is Jack. I am the resident game designer of the panel. And if I tried the same move that Hunter pulled, I would have pulled it off for about 2 seconds. And then full face planted into the ground and been
But would you
medically
have been able to do it
evacuated
for
on the
20
spot.
seconds, Jack?
I probably could do it for 2.1 seconds. Is that worthwhile?
I'll take that.
Okay, great.
I'll take that.
And I am drinking whatever the fuck this is. It tastes good and it has probiotics, and my body hates me at the moment. So
What is
honestly,
it?
I'm praying that it works. Blueberry lemonade. It has 2 billion cultures and it's probiotic water. It looks cute.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, hopefully I won't die from it. But we never know.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I poisoned myself on a podcast, God. That's how I got here.
We can't have that be the way you go out. We can't do that. But we are here. We are diving into episode 8 of Survivor 46. And oh dear God.
Yeah, what the actual fuck?
What is this season becoming?
Somehow, this season went from, okay, we have one tribe repeatedly losing to, oh wow, we have a power structure. Like, this is a really innovative thing. The power structure is repeatedly blowing itself up.
Internally, externally, intramuscularly, like it's when Charlie in this episode was like, alliance is the loosest possible word you could use to describe this group of people. I said, honestly, slay.
Yeah.
Like, that's about right. But we're going to talk about all of this. We got our first live tribal of the season. I'm very excited to dive into that. Iconic moments, iconic callbacks, iconic challenges in what will go down as an iconic episode of Survivor 46, if you ask me. So I'm excited to dive in. Before we do, though, make sure to subscribe if you've not already, because we're here almost all the time giving you almost all things reality TV. We've got 3 other channels as well as our membership channel for exclusive content and early access to some of our content. All those links are down in the description below. So we come back, and both of our groups are coming back from Tribal. Obviously, the first group that voted out Tim comes back first. And with Tim going home, the rest of this group wants to like socialize and like laugh and whatever. And Q is frustrated because no one wants to figure out a plan.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess he's kind of immediately like, a member of the six went down. We have to get another member. We have to make sure that we're still majority. And he is panicking because the first of several mistakes that Q decides to claim this
Mm-hmm.
he's already made one by having him go, so he's immediately trying to rectify it. How I basically see Q throughout this entire episode is a small leak springs in a boat, and Q desperately tries to hammer it in and make sure it's gone. And in the process, actively opens up about 5 more holes, realizes he's done that, and then continues to hammer. And it just, I think we start seeing that here with him going, why are we not immediately strategizing? Why is the game turned off for a second? When everyone
Because
else
they're
is talking.
human. Because they're human. Like, it's so interesting finally, like, fully seeing the game bot side of Q come out. I'm finding his evolution to be very, very interesting. And we've got a lot more to talk about with Q in the episode, but it's interesting seeing him, and he even says it when we get, well, I'm gonna come back to this. The rest of the group comes back. Tiffany and Kenzie are gooped, gagged, and betrothed that Miss Venus is still here and that they voted out Soda. And Venus decides, I'm gonna just, claim this move. This was my move. And I know the two people that voted for me were Tevin and Venus. And for someone who's preached themselves on loyalty and honesty the whole game, Tevin has done nothing but lie to me. Could not have been a different reaction from these two groups coming back to camp.
Yeah, Venus, I mean, I don't blame her looking from her position. She said, let's vote out Soda. Soda went home. She seemingly in her own mind was the first person to say that. So I don't blame her. This episode makes it very, very clear that it definitely was not her, and it was never her. And she just happened to say the thing that everyone else was saying.
And
And
that
I
kind
love
of
her.
also is what happens with this episode. But Venus is not the only one that is annoyed with Tevin claiming to take this move. Because for the first time in 15 days, we hear Liz talk about strategy. And she even acknowledges it too. She's like, I've kind of been sitting back for 2 weeks and just like not really playing the game. I've been letting the game play me. And I've kind of been talking about taking out Soda since the beginning of the game. And so this episode is so interesting for me. And I'm going to be honest. I feel like Liz's chances of winning this game suddenly like expanded beyond anything I thought we would have ever gotten from her.
Yeah. We finally found out that she isn't just the twin who survived to merge. Like
Literally.
genuinely, we finally have she's doing something. Granted, the move that she's claiming is the same move that 2 other people are claiming. One of them probably wrong. One of them kind of right,
I was
but
going to say she planted the seeds for this. Tevin is the one that ultimately spearheaded the plan in this moment to take out Soda. And Venus was kind of just there. But I don't think you can fully say that Liz wasn't a part of this because I remember in the first couple of episodes, the little bit we did get of Nami, it was very much so Liz being like, well, I think everyone here is great. However, I know that Tevin is a huge threat. I know that Hunter is a big physical threat. And I know that Soda is going to be a very big social threat for me. So I find it interesting. And we'll come back to that later.
yeah.
But we have to get into Charlie being brought into the 6 because they voted out Tim And so because of that, obviously in Q's scrambling, they decide they're going to bring in Charlie, which I honestly think is the best possible move. How they came to the decision of bringing Charlie in,
bad.
we don't see it all. We don't see it all.
Yeah. I mean, Charlie's brought in a weird way where it's kind of like, oh, so it was Tim that was the head of the Sega branch of it, with Maria as a backup or like the side piece.
Yeah.
But now that Tim is gone, Maria can be more involved and we can bring in Charlie. And it's
but you have to
why?
remember, this whole game is being played as a Q game. You got to remember that.
Yeah.
The whole episode, he was just like, everyone has to play by my rules. I was just like,
yeah, that was easily the weirdest part. So in this episode alone, we get 15 confessionals from Q.
Yep.
To be clear, we get more confessionals from Q than we've gotten from Liz the entire time she's in the game.
Including this episode?
She is at 14 total. Just as a reminder, at the start of last episode, she was at 7. 7. She was fucking irrelevant. And now she actually has some weight because finally they're deciding to show her in the goddamn edit. But yeah, no, Q gets 15 confessionals this episode. And I mean, we start to see that 6 fall apart because it's like, wait, Maria was number 2 and now Charlie is number 3, but because the number 1's been taken out, they both go up a step. And it's like the most blatant thing as well. It's not directly said, but like the Maria and Charlie both figure it out and are like, what?
Yeah.
Why was I not like initially told on this? You 3 were essentially forming yourself to be a final 3, and now because one of your final 3 members is gone, now we're all important. That's interesting.
I'm so happy in this moment that Charlie is brought into this with the awareness that this is a very, very loose and very fragile alliance. I'm very happy that we see him talk about that. And like I said earlier, he literally says the alliance is the loosest possible term you could use to describe this group of people. And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, he quite literally says, like, every alliance goes awry for a reason. Yeah. Am I that awryness? I'm not saying it exactly.
Am I the drama?
But yeah, Charlie's realizing, I don't know how far I can trust this. And it's just, this is a weird, almost like power play from Q where he's like, okay, we need someone, let's pull it in. And this is after essentially last time the 6 just not working. That he's like, yeah, no, we'll now work on the 6. So I just, yeah.
This is also where we see the Q skirt. What are your thoughts, Jack? Are you gonna buy a Q skirt?
So if I remember right, it's the cost of a hoodie, a fanny pack, a blanket, and something else all in one.
And a skirt. There we go.
That's the extra one. Which, if I'm putting the numbers together right, is still like $130. Too much. Way too much. I'll take like 15% for like $10,000 in the company, but like buying it,
if
you're gonna have to run it through
with the Shark Tank noise, I'm gonna freaking cry. Like, he needs to do that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has. And Liz at the same time is going, yeah, this is a great idea. I love this. I want this to go on. And for some reason, this bit continues on later in the episode.
I just
and then we go after this Q shirt to hide and seek. Hide and seek. Plus,
because we don't have enough. Because we don't have enough footage from this episode, apparently.
I mean, I guess it is foreshadowing. It is foreshadowing for something that happens directly later on, but
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
So as we're going through, and Charlie starts as the seeker and everyone else hides. Hugh in the background is like, every single move here, I've been trying to do this to assess everyone's gameplay and make sure that everyone knows what's going on and like make sure that I know how people think. Which what?
Honestly, genius.
Not with you.
Honestly, genius. Really?
I think that people think because there are no stakes to this game. I would say that there's exactly one stake made later on that actually matters.
Yeah.
But there are zero stakes to this game. As such, you cannot fairly analyze this game as anyone's strategy because I think it's kind of asinine.
See, I disagree completely because I feel like in this being like a no stakes sort of game, I feel like people are going to do what comes naturally to them and hide in a spot that feels the most natural to them, find people in the way that's most natural to them, and that is ultimately what a lot of people do in the game of Survivor is they trust their instinct, they go with their gut, and that's how they play this game. So I actually think Q doing this, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of incredibly smart, honestly." Just because I feel like it does give a little bit of information about who people are outside of Survivor, which ultimately is going to inform how people play the game. So I thought it was a gorgeous move. Um, the only positive praise I will give Q in this episode, I've got to be honest here, but Hunter and Ben win. Good for them because Hunter has climbed up into the tree over um
Over
over the shelter. And the moment where Q just goes, Hunter's up there. What the fuck do you mean Hunter's up there?
So dumb. And the way that Q also was like, okay, so Liz was really bad at hiding, so that means her game is pretty much out in the open and we don't need to worry about her. And then Hunter's up in a tree, which actually means that he's a really, really dangerous threat. And like, he's a physical threat. We already knew this. What more information did you get from him being in a goddamn tree? But at least now we understand what the fuck was happening in the preview for the last
Right,
episode, because the minute that Hunter was in a goddamn tree, I was like, great, everyone's gone crazy.
right. Um Now this is where things go off the rails a little bit. Venus is having what she calls a debrief chat with Tevin, where Tevin just lets her take credit for the move of um taking out Soda. Tevin is then just laughing afterwards to Liz. And Liz recognized, oh, Tevin is a threat. Tevin needs to go.
Yeah, so we have the person wrongly taking credit,
Yeah,
we have the person kind of rightly taking credit, and the person not really taking credit but knowing that they were a big influence in it, just all in the same place. It's just I think it's just an interesting dynamic.
mm-hmm.
uh Tevin going completely to the floor, little little cruel, I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
yeah, it could have been worse.
And while all this is happening, Tiffany is then suggesting to Tevin afterwards that Venus isn't as dangerous as Tevin thinks she is. So Tevin goes to Q saying that Tiff is shaky, And immediately Q is like, well, Tiff isn't playing a Q game anymore. She's trying to play the old survivor.
What?
Huh? Genuinely confused.
The old survivor is in strategizing?
The old survivor as in not a steamroll by physical threats?
Yeah, it's...
I genuinely, you know what? I am actually going to look this up really quick because I'm very curious. I'm going to look up who Q's favorite survivor player is. Oh, I forgot. This is the man when asked what past survivor would you play like, he said bits and pieces of a lot of people. Never mind.
Yeah.
So Q is now 100% ready to break up the six again. This is the second time now in 2 votes since the six was formed. Mind you, I would like to point that out. The second time in 2 votes that Q wants to break up the six and target Tiffany, because she named Maria as a threat. So now all of a sudden Q is more loyal to a woman he met 3 days ago than he is to someone he's been working with for almost 2.5 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure I've got that.
Yeah, so Tiff made one mistake, a mistake in Q's words, direct mistake.
Because she's not playing a Q game.
The 4th time that someone has made a mistake in the episode. That she mentioned someone in the six as a threat, even though anyone who is looking at the six can see that it's kind of on fire and not a realistic thing to look at. And immediately that means Tiff must go. Immediately. Fuck Tiff, fuck Tiff, fuck Tiff. Like, Q, I thought you wanted to reunite the six, and now you're going off the first little bit of fuckery. And we get
and it's not even like Tiff only brought up Maria's name.
She brought up Maria and Ben.
She's targeting Sigas. Like, that's what it was. She brings up Ben as an option as well. But apparently that does... Anyway. There's more idiocy in this episode. So we go to the immunity challenge. It is the classic hang on the pole. Jeff now gives his customary 4 people sit out and I will give you rice. Or we have a new option this time. If 2 people want to sacrifice their vote and still play for immunity, then they'll do it. Which, you know, in hindsight, they probably should have done it. But
they should have. And because we have what? 5 people drop within a minute?
5 people drop within 2 minutes. Yeah. So Q and Liz are really the only ones that are like 100% willing to sit out. Charlie is like, well, if someone else is gonna sit out, like, I'll be the 4th person. And so for the first time in the new era, we don't have a deal in this, which means they're gonna starve more, which means they're just gonna keep playing as wildly as they have been.
So this is actually something that was mentioned in the On Fire podcast. Jeff has directly said this rice isn't necessarily going away, which means this is potentially a very empty threat. They just don't get food now. They might get it later.
I'm wondering if this was always the idea from Jeff. I'm curious to see what will happen. But yes, we start our challenge, and within 2 minutes, Q, Liz, Kenzie, Ben, and Maria all fall. And then a few minutes later, Tevin falls after saying, "Oh, I'm gonna beat Ozzy's record," and then drops several minutes in.
Granted, large footnote on there. They've intentionally made the foothold smaller, meaning it is much harder to stay on for a long period of time. But that doesn't really matter here. Q specifically, after he drops immediately, and that's probably the reason he was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do well. I'll sit out happily. Q and Maria immediately drop.
Yeah, I would drop. I would not do this challenge. I would be one of those people. I know this is not a challenge I'm going to win.
But Charlie is the only other person who volunteers to sit out.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people say, no, I want to play this challenge. I've seen this challenge too much. I want to fucking play it. Which, surprise, you set up an iconic challenge and tell people, hey, want to go sit out? If you have enough people who enjoy the show, they're not going to sit.
Exactly.
So Q immediately is like, we could have just sat 4 people out. We could have just had people sit, which, I mean, I guess, but Q immediately is downtrodden and is basically just pissed at everyone else for basically from this point on. We'll get into later why I'm confused by it, but you know. Anyway,
we end up with the final 3 of Hunter, Venus, and Charlie. And then Venus falls. So we end up with Hunter and Charlie. I don't think anyone at all was beating Hunter in this challenge.
And the fact that after Hunter lost, he just casually hung himself down. Bitch, he was never losing.
He took his arms off the pole.
Circus laid that shit.
Literally.
And everyone's like, okay, did you really need to, like, come on. We also get Jeff casually rubbing it in the face of basically Mariah, not Mariah, Christ, of Liz and Q being like, I would have lasted longer than 20 seconds, to be honest with you. And then we get the Q skirt mention, and it's like, this is honestly some of the most fun Jeff has had just talking.
It seems like it.
He enjoys this cast a little too much.
I think so. It seems like it.
Probably because they're all fucking unhinged.
I think so.
But
so we go back to camp. Q is pissed, like you talked about. He's going off about, people not sitting out. And Liz is talking to Maria and Ben, because at this point, the plan amongst the majority is to vote out Tiffany. Liz decides that this is her moment. She's going to have it. And she wants to take out Tevin.
Okay.
And so that plan starts spreading. Ben goes to Kenzie, Venus, and Tiffany. And they're all on board.
Yeah, why not?
Because it seems like, and I love getting this moment from Kenzie, because Kenzie's like, it seems like the Yanu 3 has been driving a lot of votes. I don't want to drive this vote. I am so okay with Tevin going. I don't want to drive this vote because I want to manage my threat level, and specifically manage our collective threat level. And I'm like,
good on you.
She's getting a winner at it. Like, that's what it is at this point. She's getting a winner at it. And I would be so okay with that. Like, truly, genuinely okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, Kenzie's getting to hide behind Q, who is a fucking train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tiff, who is less visible and is playing smartly, but like is still Yanu and still connected to Q. So Kenzie just kind of gets adrift.
Mm-hmm.
And like, good for her. Good for fucking her.
So Tiffany, not knowing that Q is the reason why her name has been going out there, and at this point, completely unaware that her name has been going out there, decides to go to Q because of their, past alliance, and tells Q that the plan is shifted to Tevin. And Q, being angry at Tiffany, is upset that it is a move that he's not in charge of.
Huh?
But apparently in Q's mind, there is no way to go back on this and change it. So Q goes to Hunter. Tells Hunter that it's Tevin. And Hunter's like, well, I'm not all that sure. So Hunter jumps into game mode. For the first time in this season that I've seen, is strategizing with people, pulls Q, Maria, and Charlie. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to have a moment for the six. And Liz. And they're speaking as if Liz is a part of the six.
Yeah.
Like, the way he was speaking in this moment, I was just like, it is so clear, and I hope we see something from Liz in the next episode about it. It is so clear to me that these four people are working together. Immediately clear. And then Venus comes to break up the conversation. And I'm just like, what is happening?
So first, before even Venus gets there, Hunter and Q walk past Venus and are like, hey, we're going to go talk to them. Could you fuck off for a couple minutes? It's like,
literally.
What the fuck? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Slow down. All you're doing is telling Venus that she's not a part of a plan.
Literally.
And then even while Liz is there, she's like, no, I'm not going to do Tiffany. I'm set on Tevin. Your convincing is not going to make me flip.
Yeah.
And throughout all of this, there's one important thing that we haven't mentioned.
The fact that Tevin is just back at camp whistling.
No, not that.
Oh.
The fact that Q, while he's been pissed at Tiffany, decides, you know what? I know what I need to do. I need to tell Maria that that Tiff has an idol.
Yes, I was going to bring that up. I couldn't remember what part of the episode this was in, but yes.
It was slightly before, and that's primarily one of the reasons why Q felt he couldn't go back. Because it was like, well, I've already fucked over Tiffany's game completely. I can't go back on this now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Now everyone knows that Tiffany has an idol for some fucking reason.
Well, not everyone knows at this point. By the end of this episode, we know that Charlie and Maria, at the very least, know.
Mm-hmm.
Because, God, we go to Tribal. And right out the gate, Q says, well, before we get deep into Tribal, I would like everyone here to vote me out.
What?
And I love,
what the fuck?
I love that Jeff's first inclination is to go, well, now hold on a second, Q. Everybody else, were you aware of this plan? And everyone's like, no, not at all. We're all very confused by this. And Q is basically saying that he wants everyone to vote for him because the madness and changing of plans that took place at camp today all had to do with him.
Which, we can talk about this. Do you think this was Q actually trying to quit, or was it strategic?
I think this was Q, and he says it later to Tiff, which is why I think this is his plan. And I hope we see something about it at the start of the next episode. I fundamentally believe Q threatened to quit, or Q asked everyone to, I don't think he was actually going to walk from the game. Q asked everyone to vote for him so that way he could deflect the target off of Tiffany. Because I think he realized in his mania what happened and was like, wait, I need to not come after this person. So I think he was trying to deflect off of Tiffany.
Even though at the end of the day, he did come after the person.
And even though at the end of the day, neither Tiffany nor Q received a single vote at this tribal council.
Wait, what?
Tiffany and Q didn't get any votes.
I thought
no.
They received 2.
No, that was Venus.
What the fuck am I misremembering? Fuck, it is Venus. Yeah, that's what I'm fucking up.
So I feel like at this point, side note, I feel like at this point in the season, Venus is going to be the person that makes it very, very deep in the game, but still will continually get like 2 or 3 votes every episode.
Yeah, I mean, she's talked about it on Twitter of like, yeah, no, I'm not watching the season at this point. Like, I don't need to continue watching it. And it's because no one takes her fucking seriously. Regardless of what she could do in the game, everyone thinks she's nothing, not a threat, just here to ride it out.
Yeah.
And it sucks because having someone that is essentially discarded by every single person is not fun. They only see her as a number because no one thinks she has any value.
They don't even really see her as a number. They see her as an alternate plan in case someone has an idol. And that's got to be a shit way to like experience Survivor. I got to be honest. Like But so everyone starts whispering. It eventually turns live. So we have Maria talking to Q, being like, "You don't have to take on this burden." Tevin and Tiffany are like, "Oh no, we're fully on the same page." Yeah, we're totally on the same page. No. Ben pops in. This does not rock. I love this man.
Deeply unserious.
We then have Tevin, Maria, and Charlie genuinely considering taking out Q.
Just because of the shit that he's causing.
Q then this is the moment where Q tells Tiffany and Kenzie that they didn't have the votes to take out Tevin and that Tiffany was going to go. So Tiffany pulls aside Charlie. And this is where I love Charlie. And I love Charlie's game. Because Tiff is like, be honest with me. Was I going to be the vote? And Charlie is 100% honest with her. And is like, yeah, you were the backup plan. The plan shifted to Tevin. I know you have an idol. Q told me you have an idol. Or Q told me and Maria that you have an idol. Don't play your idol. You will waste it. This episode gave me 2 things. This episode told me that Liz has a much wider shot at winning this game than I thought she did. And going into this episode, I thought she had like a 0.0001% chance of winning. So it's widened ever so slightly. 2, it really makes me think that Charlie might actually win. Because Charlie's being very, very truthful to a lot of people. And I see there come a point where everybody trusts Charlie, but nobody realizes that Charlie has everyone in his pocket. So Tiff is gagged. Tiff tells Kenzie about this. Talk through the live tribal, Jack. I want to know your thoughts on it.
So somehow across all of this, I mean, we get a shift onto Venus, which sure, I guess, but I mean, we finally have people like trying to not be the vote, like trying to like push it off on people not accepting fate.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we kind of see this collapse, if I'm thinking about it right, where it's like we are seeing actively the 6 completely fall apart. Their relationship is gone.
Even Tevin is like, the 6 is fucking done. I love this. I love this so much.
And then we kind of get to the vote. Everyone sits down and we're like, okay, we're good. Let's vote.
Everyone's votes. This voting sequence is one of my favorite voting sequences in a long time because almost every single person gets up there and it's just like, huh?
Charlie just goes, fucking no.
I loved it. I loved it so much. It's so good. The way that everyone's just like, I don't know what the hell happened here tonight, but I'm voting. And I love Tevin going, I don't know what the hell's happening. I don't know who's voting for who, but I'm voting for Venus.
If all else fails, just fucking vote Venus. That's the answer.
Well, and that is the last time that he will vote for Venus because in an 8-2 vote, they actually blindside Tevin. I'm gagged. I did not know how this vote was going to turn out. I did not expect it to be 8-2, where 8 votes went on Tevin and 2 votes went on Soda, or not on Soda, on Venus.
Yeah, I mean, what? So the other vote for Venus is Q.
Oh, was it Q?
I think it was Q. I need to double check my own notes.
I thought it was Hunter, but I actually remember. I think Hunter voted for Tevin.
Give me 2 seconds just to double check my own notes here. But
I'm
I
just
believe
like, this is
it
wild.
was.
This is wild.
No, it was Hunter. I'm stupid.
Okay.
But yeah, what?
I thought we were gonna get like a 5 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. Like honestly, that's where I thought this was going. And it doesn't. And Tevin gets taken out.
Yeah. I mean, I think what honestly happened is people were like, Q and Tiffany are gonna keep fighting here. Let's just take out Tevin, who people are kind of mad at, but it's not really an issue, and there's already a plan behind it. So people just jumped on ship with that vote, and Tevin is gone. Which the facial expressions of just, oh my god, you're fucking kidding. Jesus Christ. And the fact that Tevin is just kind of happy on the way and is like, you know what? I had fun and I got fucking blindsided.
Sure.
Just I love it.
Yeah.
Now we go into a weird spot. We have so the 6 is dead. The 6 is fully dead.
The 6 is dead, but you know what we do have, Jack? 3 people from every original tribe left.
And not only that, we kind of have on those tribes a pair and a solo. We have on Yanu, Kenzie and Tiff, who are kind of together at this point and are like, there's some weird shit going on.
I would consider
and then Q,
them
who they don't trust.
Yeah. And then you've got Charlie and Maria with
Ben off.
Ben on the side. And then you've got, well, Nami.
Nami is in a weird spot.
Because Hunter and Venus aren't really together. And then, like, I wouldn't say Hunter. So it's 2 duos and a single. And then, honestly, I feel like all 3 Nami are, like, the fractured little bits.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Hunter kind of is attached to Q. Liz
is the freest of agents, and no one's taking Venus seriously.
Yeah. So it's a weird dynamic where it feels like everyone, this is like going to be the weirdest voting dynamic yet. Because it feels like we've started completely over.
It does. But I'm excited for next week. I'm excited to dive in, and I'm excited for you all to come back and watch. So thank you so much for joining for our episode recap for Survivor 46. Let us know in the comments below all of your thoughts on this episode. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share on the way out. Go down in the description below to find all of our other channels, our membership channel, our social media channels at The Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You could follow me and Jack as well, and you could get your merch. I don't have mine currently, but you could get a cup mug like Jack's down below as well. With all that being said, we're going to get out of here. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Now, Logan, just to be clear, asking to be voted out at this point doesn't even work anymore. So, like, you're not getting out of Amazing Race. Don't even ask.